Hello.
Good afternoon. We're
Good
back.
afternoon. We're back.
And we are welcome.
Welcome.
What should we stop? Okay, no, this is real.
This is
what
real.
we're doing.
Yeah.
So, right now, thank you. Welcome to our channel. Our channel is called
Let's
Cook a Book.
And today's book we will be cooking is The Shack by W.M. Paul Young.
Yay!
And really quickly, I'm just going to read a small intro. This was a beautiful, beautiful book. We actually read this a while back, and now that we started this channel, we was like, we have to review this book. So really quickly, I'm just going to take a few minutes to read it. So it says, Mackenzie Allen, Philip's youngest daughter, Missy, has been abducted during a family vacation, and evidence that she may have been brutally murdered is found in an abandoned shack deep in the Oregon wilderness. 4 years later, in the midst of his great sadness, Mac receives a suspicious note, apparently from God, inviting him back to that shack for a weekend. Against his better judgment, he arrives at the shack on a wintry afternoon and walks back into his darkest nightmare. What he finds there will change Mac's world forever. In a world where religion seems to grow increasingly irrelevant, the shack wrestles with the timeless question, where is God in a world so filled with unspeakable pain? The answers Mac get will astound you and perhaps transform you as much as it did him. You'll want everyone you know to read this book. That is true.
And the genre for the book is under, like, I believe it's under Christianity.
Yes.
And so we are free spirits. So whether you're Christian, Muslim, Jewish, whatever, you can all get something out of this book, and you can all learn. It's a very, very beautiful book.
Very, very beautiful book.
So he, this gentleman, Mackenzie, he had a family, and you know, he was kind of busy. His wife was off doing something, and I think he was going to take his younger daughter and his, I think it was a son or another daughter. They were going to go on a camping trip.
Family, the kids,
but the mother didn't go.
The mother didn't go, so it was like
they was going on a camping trip, right?
I'm fine. Thanks for asking.
So they were going on the camping trip, and what happened was Mr. Mac.
Yes, yeah. Mac is the dad.
He came from a very, very hard upbringing with his father. I think his father was an alcoholic and
abusive.
Very, very abusive, verbally and physically to him, to the point where in this book you'll learn that he kind of goes back into his childhood, and his father tied him to a tree before.
Yes.
It's very, very sad and very, very vivid. So we won't tell you every single thing that's happened in the book, but we would encourage you to go and read this book.
Yes.
But yeah, so if you remember, just chime in whenever you can remember what was going on, so I don't over-talk you.
No problem. I love my mama, just so y'all know.
So what happened was, yeah, so he had a very hard upbringing. He finally found love in his wife, and they got married and everything.
Yeah. And then they had, I believe, 3 beautiful kids, 2 daughters and 1 son. And they decided, I think, every year they go on this camping trip. So they didn't think anything of it. They thought, you know, hey, this is a family tradition. We go to the same place, and you know, they do the same thing, you know, over and over. So you don't expect anything to go wrong differently, you know. So basically, they get to the cabin, and everything is going fine. I'm wondering, did something happen the first night, or was it like the second night?
It was very calm and peaceful. They built their campsite, and you know. Yeah. They slept there or whatever, and I think there was some other young family or something that was next to their camp, not too far from their camp, that the teenage daughter, was it a teenage daughter and son?
Yeah.
That they befriended.
They befriended, yeah.
And so I think a few days into the trip or something, or maybe the next day, they decided they wanted to go on the water, do something on a boat, on a raft or something, and the father stayed with the younger daughter.
Yeah. And she was coloring. Basically, she was coloring, and you know how your worst nightmare can happen. His son was on the water, and then the worst thing happened, where he had to choose between, okay, do I leave my little girl for a few seconds?
Because I think they were whitewater rafting, and the water got rough, and they lost control of the boat.
Yes.
Or something, and I don't know if it flipped over or whatever happened. The father could see that the water became rough and more than the teenagers can handle.
Correct.
So he heard their screams, and in a panic, his adrenaline just caused him to just run to go check on what was happening to his other children.
Correct.
And his daughter was just like,
she was coloring.
Safe at the camp for him.
Yeah.
But unbeknownst to him, there was some evil person loose, and then he didn't know that, I think, when he went camping.
Correct.
And so he went to go.
He went in the flash. He went to go. He saved his son, and then you come back and you're like, your adrenaline is still, high because of after almost dying, just to have the worst imaginable thing happen, because now the daughter is missing. The daughter went missing, and it was a little girl. Her name was Missy. And it's every parent's worst nightmare.
So then we're not going to give too much away on that.
Yes.
So we can go to another section of the book where he kind of lost himself.
Yes.
And I don't know if I'm going backwards, but at some point I think he was back at his home and he was going to go out to the mailbox. It was a snowstorm or something, and he slipped on the ice and hit his head.
Yes.
And then it was bleeding in the snow and everything. And when I guess all this stuff happened, when it's going on, it makes the reader think that you don't know if he's hallucinating everything that happened, or did he actually get up out of the snow.
Correct.
You don't really know, but he finds himself going back to that cabin. He was led by divine intervention. Yeah.
Can you imagine getting a note from God that says, "Hey, meet me at this place"? That's probably tragic, and you get a note saying to go there, and you're like, okay, who is this from? This is an actual real note. You're wondering again, like my mom said, is he hallucinating, or what's going on? And sometimes, like, those parts that like hurt us the most, sometimes that's it holds us down. It holds us down.
Yeah. So we recommend that you read this book.
Yes,
if
please.
You have any person in your life that have suffered a loss. We all have had losses in our life that maybe make us want to give up hope. And we need a divine intervention in our life every day.
Yes.
You read this book and it will really change your life. It will restore your faith, and it will shake loose our ideals. Sometimes if you're very, very religious, you could tend to get tunnel vision sometimes and only look at things from one perspective. You already have your vision because you have a picture of what God's supposed to look like in your church. No disrespect to anybody. I'm just saying, if you go on that image, then you're going to think that that's the only form in which God can appear in. So if you see something else, like you pass that homeless person on the street, you don't know if that's God, and you just didn't give them nothing, didn't help them. Sometimes your inside voice will tell you not to, and you'll know it may be a safety issue, but you don't know. If you know God works through people, you don't know who you're speaking to or who you're helping, or so. Yes. Just keep that in mind, that we all should try to help people, but this book will change your life.
It definitely will, and hopefully, you're very open to having that change, because if you're not open to that change, then it has no way of touching you in that particular part. But we do recommend this book.
Yes, it's very, very good.
Very, very beautiful, and you can check it out at your local library. We actually did check this out at the library, and it was so good that we bought it, so we purchased it.
But remember, too, that with any book that we review, we respect the authors, we like their work, but we don't work for any of them. We're not getting any money from any of them. We just love their work, and we're sharing it to you. Try to bring it forth so other people can enjoy the book. So we thank you very much for watching today. Please comment, rate,
like, subscribe.
Yes. Thank you so much.
To stay in the loop. And thanks. We cooked this book.
Thank you for helping us cook this book called The Shop by